Today we're looking at H&K VP9 Match pistol. This is the first H&K pistol we've shown on the channel, or that I've ever had or owned or anything like that. So I was extremely curious, because if you follow the channel, you see that I've been doing competition for the last few months. So this is one of the ones I want to kind of throw in rotation to see if it's a good fit for me or not. I'm still trying to find my permanent pistol going forward. I've made my switch from the Canic Rival Steel, had a lot of issues with that. Now I'm with the Q5 Match, which I have had no issues with the Walther, but I just wanted to throw a couple other guns in the mix just to kind of see what else was out there. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is the VP9 Match Optics Ready B. Now the number has B in it, when the name has B in it, because it's the button style mag release versus the pedal. The H&K is known for the in Germany, they're used to that paddle release on the trigger guard for the mag. I don't have time to get used to that. I just wanted the button because it's standard. So let's see what's inside the box. Looks like you get your lock. It looks like these are the O-rings that go around the barrel, which we'll talk about later. So it's kind of cool. They send you some extras. There's about 5 of them there. All right, so let's take a look at everything that's on here. This one comes with 4, as you can see, 4 20-round mags. So I think that was pretty awesome, right? I don't think I've ever seen a pistol come with 4. I'm sure they're out there, but out of all the ones that I reviewed, I think the max I've seen is 3. So that's pretty cool that there's 4 of these guys, and they're 20-round magazines. Of course, your speed loader. Looks like you get some, what are these? Okay, so these are the lateral panels, the side panels. So you get 3 of them. Obviously, the biggest one looks like it's already on the gun, and then you have 2 more. So you get more of a flat one, which would be your small, right here, left for that size. And then you have the right and left for this other medium size. And it looks like this is the large. It has the bigger palm swell. So you get 3 grip panels, and then of course you get 3 back straps. And they all have the same texturing, which is pretty smooth. It's not rough. You can definitely feel it. But it's not an aggressive texture, but it is decent enough, and they're really ergonomic. That's what I like about these HK design and the Walthers. They're more ergonomic on the grips. But here's 2 grips here. This is your small and your medium, so the large is already installed. And full disclosure, I bought this pistol used, but it looks brand new. Even at my local gun store, shout out to my gun depot in Spring, Texas. They even told me that they don't really think the person that had it fired it other than the range a few times and maybe decided against it for whatever reason. So I got it for a few $100s off than standard MSRP, which was freaking awesome. But here's the small and the medium. If you guys can see a little bit of a difference between that. And then of course the large is on the pistol itself. So I'm just kind of moving these a little bit. See the camera when I zoom in, if it can capture the size difference or not. I'm sure it's possible. So you do get 3 of those. Looks like, what else is in here? You get another recoil spring. This one's colored blue. So I'm not sure. I haven't opened it to see if there's a different color on this one. Nothing tells me that there's supposed to be 2 different guide rods. I mean, we could always test it and see which one is heavier or lighter than the other. I'm not sure what the poundage is on this. There's no markings or anything like that, other than it's blue back here at the back end. It looks completely brand new, never used. So you get that, and it looks like this slot had the mag well. Looks like it was already installed. So let me go ahead and get this 4th mag out, and let me see what else is in here. The book I just moved. Of course, you get your book here. Don't think there's anything else. No, that's it. So let's go ahead and move this stuff out of the way. All right, so now we're back. Got everything out the way. Let's show that this is clean and clear. Well, I don't know about clean, but definitely clear. So nothing in there. We can go ahead and squeeze that trigger, get out the way. So it looks, it also comes with the mag well. That's what that empty slot was for in the case, so that's already pre-installed. Man, my first thoughts, just the overall look and feel. It's way lighter than it looks. Of course, it's a polymer frame, so they're not always the heaviest, but I figured with this 5.5-inch barrel and the longer slide that it would be a lot heavier. It's actually pretty light. I was kind of shocked by that. I was expecting it to kind of just drop in my hand, but it is super light. So one thing I forgot while I was doing my review, and then I was adding the optic for a different review to try this in competition, I'm editing this in there after the fact. Let's get this to lock back for us without me having to lock it. One thing I forgot to mention, I put these to the side. Where'd they go? they give you these O-rings. That's one of the big things about this pistol and this barrel, is that it comes with these O-rings in the front. So that way when you're having that action of shooting, it tightens up the barrel with the slide during lockup and recoil and all that stuff. So it keeps it tighter, more in sight, more accurate, so that barrel's not kind of moving around in here a lot. So that's what they say the engineering behind this makes this a lot more accurate. And you guys will find out when you see the shooting part, because this is again edited in after the fact, because I completely forgot about it. And this is one of the big driving points of this gun, is these rubber O-rings here that kind of keeps that barrel nice and tight for you. So we're gonna see if that helps, if it makes this an accurate pistol. And then we'll go ahead and get to the dimensions before I get into everything else, since I'm talking about the barrel size and all that. But the barrel is actually 5.51 inches, so 5.5 inches long on that barrel. Overall length is 8.78, so really long slide on this thing. I don't think you want to conceal carry. I mean, of course you can conceal carry anything you want, but I mean, it's in the name. This was mainly made for competition. The overall height from the bottom of the grip, not the magwell, but they're pretty flush, is 6.5 inches. The width is 1.32, so under 1.5 inch, and that may be with just the flat side panels, not necessarily the bigger palm swell ones. Without the empty mag, it's 24.16 ounces. So I thought it was going to be more like 29, 28 just by the look of it. And then when I grabbed it, I felt that it was super light. So it is just a tad over 24 ounces. The sight radius, which kind of helps with picking up these dots and shooting, is 7.68 inches. So over 7.5 inch sight radius, almost 8 inches. That kind of helps for, to get in that real quick 3 dots lined up and shot. And we'll talk about the slide here in a second. So those are all the dimensions. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about this slide. Extremely, extremely aggressive cuts and some lightning cuts here to reduce some of that weight on here. I love the look of it, and I like how this kind of dips in some here. So, some of you guys like to do press checks from the front or even racking real quick. You can definitely get inside this little recess cut. It's not even a cut, but the shape of it, that kind of, it just thins out right here from the rest of the slide, gets a little skinnier near the muzzle. And then of course you have your lightning cuts here, just make it look super awesome. You already have a large window up top, so for some of you guys that want to, that just want a real cool Gucci gun, you can definitely get some porting done on that barrel. Or even for competition, if you want to try it and open, it's already ready for you to get this ported. Really, really nice, just really, really aggressive looking, sleek. And then you have some slight deeper rear serrations here, so you can easily grab back here as well. The other thing I noticed on the slide that was, I don't know if these come pre-installed or whoever had it before me, because again, I did purchase this used, added these cocking serrations. So you have to remove the sight to take these cocking ears out of the way. So as you can see there, they protrude just a little bit, maybe 1/4 inch on each side. And you can take those off if they're getting in your way. So you can see that they do pop out some, but they're just kind of like little cocking ears. So if you grab from the back, it really shouldn't slip unless your hands are wet or something like that. But you're pretty much just grabbing this almost like 2 little levers on the side. So that really does help. They are polymer, they don't feel like metal. So these were already on the gun. So that's kind of cool. I don't think for the guns that I've had, I've never seen that before. So I don't know if that's an H&K thing or just different pistols that'll add that on there, but that's pretty cool. Optics ready. So the pistol did not come with any plates. I didn't see any slots for the plates, so I don't know if that comes with it or not. Everything that I've read says it does not come with it. So I did purchase offline a RMR plate here. 401 Manufacturing, it's an aftermarket company, and to me, as long as they have the specs correctly of the optic footprint and the material is metal or aluminum, I'm cool with getting it from whatever mom and pop's company or versus like 80-90 from a big name company just for the plate. I think that one was like 35 bucks or something like that. So we'll see if it's you get what you pay for is actually true on everything. So we'll see. But it is cut. There is no footprint, so you do need a plate. There are 3 dot sights, and you can just pick that up really easily with that long sight radius. I mean, you can just see it right there. So I do like that. But really easy to acquire those 3 dots. And you do have a cocked indicator right here. You can see that there. So when it's cocked, not necessarily loaded, because you see there's no bullets in here, it just tells you that it's been cocked and the trigger's ready for a pull back here. So as you can see, there's that little red dot in there. So once you get that trigger pull, it disappears. So that tells you if it's been racked or not. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and go down to our frame. Let's talk about our controls. Here is your slide release catch. It's kind of got like a little rounded and some long serrations there that you can feel. I always like these to be a little bit like to protrude just a little bit more, to almost serve as like a stopping point or an index point. But it's easily accessible and manipulatable, so that's not really an issue for me. This one's actually kind of cool. It works. My problem with when they're a little bit flush, I don't know if it's because I have bigger rounded, fingers or whatever, it's hard to manipulate sometimes. But this one, I don't seem to have any kind of issues with it, even though it doesn't look like it protrudes a ton. So that's pretty cool. It functions. Your takedown lever, same thing. It's kind of got that rounded with long serrations across the side there, you can see. And of course, it's kind of like a P320, right? Lock it back, pull that down, forward, and all that good stuff. This is not a disassembly or assembly video. You get your full Picatinny rail down here for your lights and lasers or anything like that. So that's pretty awesome. I think that's pretty standard now with a lot of pistols, especially match pistols, because you always want to add the lights for front weight. The Mac button, it looks like it's really flush. Obviously, it does protrude just a little bit. Little worried about that being so flush, but seeing where it's at, my thumb comes right over it naturally. I don't have to change my grip to get to it, so I could really just kind of press that in there without any issues or really affecting my grip at all. It's got the same texturing here. There's little swirls on here. They're not very aggressive, but again, it's a button that's right where it needs to be. So, I mean, it's not going to slip. Nobody's trying to release their button with their thumb going forward. So sometimes that texturing on the Mac buttons don't really bother me, as long as I can access them pretty quick, pretty easy. The trigger, just first looking at it, if you know me already, I'm not a big fan of curved triggers. It does kind of have a slight straight point, not a straight curve and really rounded. It kind of has like a little wall, and then it like a slight angle here, and then it goes straight again. So it almost feels like a flat trigger down here where my finger is. There is the trigger safety bar there. It does have a good feel to it, and we'll look at that trigger here in a second. And the ambi controls, here's your slide release catch on the other side as well. So they are ambidextrous controls. You can go ahead and move this to the other side. That's pretty cool on the mag button. And of course, this is not the gas pedal release. You guys, if you know H&K, they have the mag release as a little pedal on the side of the trigger guard. If I had it on this one, I do believe they come on both sides. I have to get off grip to go this way. So sometimes they say it's easier with your trigger finger to go down and just press down here like this, and it's just not a natural thing for most American pistols, and nothing that I'm used to. So I didn't want to try to retrain myself on the on the magazine release being a pedal on the side of the trigger bar. So I'm glad that they had this button release for me. Going down to the bottom of the frame, they're texturing. There are these little swirl patterns. They kind of interlock a little bit. You definitely can feel them because they do have some depth to them, but it's not aggressive. If your hands are slightly, have some moisture, they're wet, I can definitely see that slipping around a little bit. But I do like that if they're drier, or if in competition, if you're using some of that rock climbing liquid or whatever it's called, that chalk, I can definitely see that being a really nice grip, because that texturing goes to the front and the back straps no matter what size you put. And I love the ergonomics of the front of these frames. I've noticed that on these and the Walthers. I don't know, I guess that's a European thing. But really nice and natural, kind of where my fingers are. They fall right into those grooves. And I love that the larger side panels have these little palm swells. See if you can see it there. It just kind of protrudes just enough to kind of fill in a little bit more of your palm. And then of course the larger back strap just kind of pops out a little bit more, which I like because I have a little bit meatier hands. So I like for that to kind of come back and fill this space here for me. Definitely leaves a lot of room to get that support head on there, is what I really like about that. The magwell, it's really low profile. This is the one that came with the pistol. It's got the logo on here, nice and flush. But looking at it, it's like it almost doesn't really serve as a magwell, because if you look at it, here's the frame inside of here, and it's almost pretty flush. And usually the purpose of a magwell is to kind of come out. I don't have anything to kind of manipulate it, but it's to kind of come out here in the front like a funnel. So that way, if you're missing, you're trying to reload super fast and you miss and you hit that funnel part, it just guides it in here. But I mean, the funnel doesn't protrude here. I mean, you're going straight into the frame, if you guys can see that. So it's almost like it doesn't really serve as a mag wheel. It just kind of looks cool, but also maybe may help you that bottom finger just kind of stay where it's at. But let's go ahead and talk about that mag release. Again, it is very flush. It has that same texturing as the panels in the frame down here. But again, it's in the perfect spot, so you can just press that. I don't have to come off grip, so I could just bam, bam, bam. Of course, you always want to turn your gun during loads, right? And then reload really easily there like that. So it's in a perfect spot. I don't have to take my hand off the grip to come over here. So this texturing just really has no issue. Really smooth action. And again, these are 20 rounders. It comes with 4 of them. So talking about these mags, so this is the VP9 Match, right? And this looks like you have a nice mag with a big old extended pad. I don't have a box per se. If you shoot competition, what I have been reading over and over is this gun with these factory mags, almost like it puts you in the open class regardless, because these are longer than the 140 millimeter box than what like carry optics or limited optics or whichever one it is has to fit that 140 millimeter or shorter. So a lot of people are like, how do you make a match gun? And then the magazines it comes with, mind you, they give you 4 20 rounders, puts you out of almost every division. So it's kind of to me, I think that's a goof, because this is not a pistol that you want to run and open. I mean, you're going to go against race guns and custom guns that are going to outperform this gun like nobody's business. So to me, that is a big goof that these are longer than what they really should have been for competition. Again, especially since this is called the Match. It was aimed for competitors, but overall, I love the feel of it. Just feels really, really nice. So we're gonna go ahead and take this to the range, get some shots out there and see how it goes. We're at 21 feet, first mag out of the box. Never shot this VP9 Match. Don't have a full 20 rounds in there. We got about 14, 15. Let's see how it shoots. Gotta check the sport goggles. Nice to get one.
Yeah.
There we go.
Ooh, that looks like it's kicked.
I rushed that one. So my thumb is sliding.
Yeah.
See my thumb sliding off here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That sucker's pretty tight and accurate though. For that bullseye, it punched a hole through there. Let's go ahead and start our 4-round groups. Push it down. It's done. So first mag, as you can see, extremely accurate, other than a couple push down here out of 15 or so. Punched a hole right through the bullseye. At 15 feet, this is extremely accurate. Maybe 1.5 inch group, closer to 2. 3 of them almost within the same 1-inch box. 21 feet, 3 on top of each other here, definitely within a 1-inch group. And then 1 I pushed down. We pushed it out to 30 feet. My first shot was way down here, and I started to get adjusted again to the vision number 1, and managed to get 2 on the bullseye at 30 feet and 1 just outside the corner.
That's iron sights.
This is, yeah, iron sights, no optic or anything.
First time out of the box.
Pretty soft shooter, does have some muzzle flip. If you're not riding with your thumb as much, not a big deal. You just kind of let that muzzle come back down on its own. If you're applying pressure with your thumb, you almost feel like you're losing grip, but you're really not. Really accurate shooter. Considering using this in competition, so with the doubles, I'm gonna go ahead and go with some 147 Outdoor Dynamic Librarians. See how it works. You know what? Towards the end there, my mind kind of went somewhere else. Not too bad. Nice and tight up top. Transitioned over here pretty good. And this is kind of where my mind was thinking was like, am I on target or not? I don't know why I started thinking that. And that messed me up on the last set, but not too bad. All right, 21 feet, we're gonna do our second set of doubles. I'm gonna try to concentrate. I edited that other one out. Still with the Outdoor Dynamics 147 Librarians. Here we go. Slide lock. Really, really soft with those 147 Librarians. Let's see how we did. So it looks like my first shot already over at Pacey, so it's pretty close on target. And then the second one, I'm trying to drive the gun back to where it needs to be. So that's just gonna be more training. But then when I transition up, nice and pretty tight, maybe 2.5 inches here, but on target. Transition to the left, pretty close to each other. And then tightened up over here to the right when you finally grasp. I know it's my last set, so I kind of grip better and then bring those closer together. One more. How does it feel in your hand?
Well, considering it's extremely accurate because everywhere I pointed is exactly where it shot. Takes some getting used to.
Yeah, see there, over there in that little tight little group there.
Yeah. Not horrible. Look at my 7.8.
Well, they're nice and tight right there, right?
Yeah. Not horrible.
No, not at all. All right, guys. My final thoughts on the HK VP9 Match. First off, you can see that we're clear here. Empty mag. My first thoughts is I love this gun. This sucker shoots nice, tight, accurate. I'm sure we can attribute that to the 5.5-inch barrel on this thing. That O-ring, I'm not an engineer. I'm not even gonna claim to understand. I think I kind of understand the O-ring. It tightens up the barrel during lockup when it's coming back and forth, so it's not a lot of wiggle room. So it kind of, that O-ring kind of it expands, so it kind of fills in that gap, keeps it straight, keeps it flatter and more accurate. At least that's how I understand it. If somebody can explain a little bit better, drop it down below in the comments. But overall feel of this gun, man, it felt nice. So I can't wait to put an optic on this one and test this out probably in my local matches. I thought I was gonna have a problem with the mag release being that it's so flush with the frame, but no problem at all because there's no issue pushing the button, and it is ambidextrous. Again, I love that they comes with the 4 20 round mags, but the ergonomics of the frame kind of contours to the fingers here. Little bit longer than compact grip, not necessarily a full-size grip, but with this mag wheel, it really pushes up just a little bit, just enough, at least for me, for my large hands, to get a really nice solid purchase on this frame. There's some other pistols that have a slight smaller frame down here, almost like a compact grip, and they're made for competition. But anybody with larger hands, it kind of squishes your pinky up and is not really allowing for you to get a good grasp. That's what I was worried with this frame being not super long, not like a full length, full size grip, but it is just right. And I love that the side panels and the back panel, the back strap, everything's interchangeable. So I have the largest on here for both due to my larger hands. So I love how this hump comes back and fills in this void back here in the back of my palm almost perfectly. I love all the ports. To kind of help with that weight a little bit. You could easily get this ported right from any machinist that does porting but of course, if you're in shooting competition, that's going to throw you an open. But if this is just going to be a range toy, man, I cannot imagine what this shoots like with a ported barrel, because this thing was nice and smooth, extremely accurate, very tight shooting. Trigger could definitely use some work. It has a lot of pre-travel, has a lot of mush on there. There's that big old uptake, and then you get a lot of somewhat of the mush, and then you press it. So I'm not a big fan of this trigger, but it's not horrible. I've shot worse. but not a deal breaker. I'm sure there's things out there that you can get this changed out with. Love these rear serrations back here, these cocking ears. They are removable. You'll have to remove the rear sight, and they kind of protrude on both sides. So if you're one of those that likes to rack from the back, I normally don't. I would normally rack from the front. So to me, it wasn't a big deal, but I like that they're there. So in case of any issues, I need to grab from the back right away, and I'm worried about sliding off the actual slide. It does have these built-in and removable little cocking serration ears in the back. That was pretty cool. So overall, great gun. Drop some comments and feedbacks down there below. And again, reach out to me on Instagram under fat_tactical. I can talk and communicate a little bit better there, go more one-on-one, and I have daily posts and stuff like that, more than I have on my YouTube. But I appreciate you guys. And the VP9 Match, 2 thumbs up. I'm going to start putting this in rotation for competition, so you guys may see some of those videos with this out there if you're interested in seeing how it performs. Got to throw an optic on there, and then we'll see how it goes. Appreciate y'all.